Okay, gamers, we're back with the next part. We're going to be doing equipments now. Woo! This is the last part of the series. I hope you guys have been enjoying this tier list and my very objective opinions about the game. I also added another S plus tier because I feel like there's way too many things in normal S tier. So I gotta make a whole new tier for it. I might make a final few changes at the end. But for now, we're going to rank the rest of the equipments. Starting from the very top, disposable missile launcher. I think this is probably a lower B tier equipment. With pocket ICBM, though, it goes up to a solid A tier. I think it's just overall B. Not really that great. It just fires a bunch of missiles. They miss ground enemies. It's the same thing as like ATG, but weaker. ATG's based on proc chance, so you're going to fire more overall compared to this. And this is just firing from your equipment instead of like off of some like high damage you did. So overall B. Next up, foreign fruit. Probably sits comfortably in C tier. Just heals 50% of your health. Pretty nice. Can save you. It's like a consistent Lepton Daisy. Huh. It's kind of funny. But yeah, just overall C tier. Nothing really too special about it. I think the other healing equipments are a bit better and just cooler than it too. Next up, black hole. I think black hole is comfortably low A tier. It has the potential to be really good for Mythics and obviously AoE. It sucks up a lot of enemies in like a big radius. It sucks up like infinite amount of enemies, I think. I don't know if there's a limit, but basically every enemy is the radius to get pulled towards it and make it very easy for you to like kill them all at once. Especially if like AoE items like Gasling or Will-O-Wisp, it pretty much shreds everything in the middle of it. Really broken item in Simulacrum and in teleporter events. It also works on Mythics too. Mythics will get pulled in by the thing. The only thing he can use to escape it is when he jumps to the center. But if he's not doing that, then you pretty much are always going to have him locked with this, which is pretty cool. Next up, Ocular Hood. Solid B tier. 100% crit chance is pretty powerful, but it does fall off more late game. But if you're not in the late game, hey, it has a use. And I guess if you pick up Lost series, you can always have crit with it. It's better to pick up like any other equipment, but I think it just averages out to B tier. Been pretty good sometimes for me, so definitely sits there. Backup sits in C tier. It would be D tier normally, but since Spirit drone parts exist, it buffs a bit more. It spawns 4 drones that don't do very much damage at all and kind of just shoot randomly. It is buffed by Captain's microbots as well, which is cool. And like I said, Spirit drone parts, so it's a little bit better. I think overall it's just not that great, not worth using, even if you do have the specific niches that make it good. Just use any other equipment. Empathy cores are just a way better version of it in every way possible. Next up, Prayon. It goes in B tier. Really strong equipment and has the highest damage of any equipment, but has a really long cooldown, which kind of nerves it a lot. It's like 3 minutes. Not the greatest. But when you do pop it off, it's not bad. That saved me a lot of times. Good in Mythics Phase 4. Overall, just probably B. I'd probably put it below Ocular, just by a little bit though. I'm gonna put the Heresy items up here that we can think about it. Anyways. Milky Chrysalis. I think overall C tier. It's the only good uses that you can skip pillars with it. Let's pretty much it. That alone keeps it in C tier. I think if it was for that, it would just be D tier. Probably provides okay mobility, but it's really awkward to use in my opinion. So, sits comfortably in C tier. And that's it. That's it for it. It's only going there. Next up, Capacitor. Capacitor is pretty good, so I'm going to throw it middle of A tier. It has probably the best immediate damage of equipment, and it scales decently well, especially like bands and crowbars. It can scale pretty well into the late game. I don't think it's the best equipment for damage, but it's definitely like top 3. I think it's probably the best one like overall though, and like in terms of like average, because you're gonna get a lot more use out of it. But I think there's a lot of others that are pretty close as well. Next up, Crowdfunder. Pretty similarly to this thing, Royal Capacitor. It has pretty decent immediate damage as well. It has a higher proc chance and has more DPS output than Capacitor, but it requires more setup to it, which kind of balances the two out. This one has more immediate power. This one gets stronger than in a late game. So they kind of balance each other out. They're decently even, and they both provide a different thing. This provides proc damage for characters that don't have proc chance. This provides high damage and like bans for characters that don't benefit from it. So yeah, it depends, but I think both of them are really strong in damage. I think this one's way better in late game. This one's way better in early game. But yeah, depending on your build though, we'll prefer one or the other though. I've been successful with both, so yeah. Next up, Gnarlwood Sprite. Sits in B tier. Passive healing is pretty nice, especially in lower difficulties and Eclipse. It's not the greatest, but it can carry you for the early game healing until you get like a cautious slug, which is nice. Next up, Radar Scanner goes in D tier. It's Radar Scanner. It's probably the worst equipment in the game, honestly, aside from like Meteor, because you can kill yourself with it. But even then, it does more damage. If you can't find anything on the stage, oh well. Just use your eyes. It's not that hard. I guess it can be okay if you're new and you don't know where everything is on the stage early on. But once you have enough experience, this thing is pretty useless to you. I guess you can give it an equipment drone if you're lazy, but that's about it. This thing, what's this thing called? The tunnel? I forget. Eccentric Vase. I had to remember. Similar to Milky Chrysalis, only releasable to skip pillars. The biggest thing that pisses me off of this thing is that you're not invincible when you're in the tunnel. If you're invincible in the tunnel, this would be way better. But overall, it's just pretty mediocre. And it's just gonna send C tier beside it. Alright, Blast Shower also goes in C tier. Pretty average equipment. It does have the nice thing that it can reset your band cooldowns, which I really like, and safer spaces, but you're not going to really use it for the safer spaces thing because it requires way too dumb of a setup to make it useful at all. Though it does block enemy projectiles and debuffs, which is pretty cool. So if you collapse, just press Q, boom. This has like a 20-second cooldown, which is pretty good too. So not the worst thing in the world. Next up, Volcanic Egg. I put in lower end of B tier. Volcanic Egg I think is the best periscope equipment because it just has more utility than the two, because it actually does damage and this furniture actually just does damage. That's the only real reason why. And it's a lot easier to control than the other two. Like it's at a comfortable pace. Although it doesn't provide an immediate pillar skip like these do. You need one field cell to skip pillars with it, which you don't always get, which sucks, but it provides more utility in the Mythrix find stuff, which I think makes it better than the other two. Next up, Jade Elephant. I put in B tier, can save your ass if you use it properly, so if you are experienced enough with it, really good equipment, so yeah. Gives you 500 armor upon use, which is a lot, it can save you, so yeah, not bad. Next up, Sommering. I think I put Sommering in the lower end of high end of B tier, yeah. Yeah, it's more proper. Pretty good equipment. It can do a lot of damage to bosses or mid and early game, and even decent late game. So pretty cool. So overall, probably just B tier though. It kind of gets outclassed by a lot of other equipments late game. It can be quite a carry in the mid game because there's a lot of immediate power. Recycler. I think this is an S plus equipment. Recycler is insane. You can reroll any item for free with this equipment. That's pretty much what it does. Easily the best equipment in the game, S tier. Only other one equipment I put probably in S tier, which we'll get to in a bit. Next up, Supermassive Leech. Decent healing equipment. I think it's my personal favorite one. maybe the best, probably the best, because he heals based on how much damage you're doing, and you do a lot of damage in Risk Rate, so it actually heals quite a lot. So I think with that, it averages out to be, yeah. Especially if you have a Genesis Loop, just press the Q button, boom, you're back at full health. That's a pretty cool example. You're about to die, oh, just get your health back, bam. If you're in the situation where you can't do that, obviously. But aside from that, just sits in B. Gorag's Opus. Also B tier. It just provides a nice attack speed buff. Really good if you give it to Equipment Drone, because it always, not always, but consistently will proc it for you. Takes a while to get Hyper Septime on, but it gives you movement speed and attack speed. It's basically a Berserker's Pauldron, but consistent. So, yeah, not bad. FMP. This has potential to be an S tier equipment, but on its own, probably about C tier. Like I said, it's like Fireworks. It has the potential to be the best in the game, but on its own, it's just a C tier. And that's probably where it's gonna sit. It's my personal favorite equipment in the game, though. It can be better than Crowdfunder and Capacitor, so pretty cool. Next up, Gun. Definite S tier. You can shoot any boss for free. I mean, I don't need to explain why this is so good. You can get any boss at it. The only thing is that sometimes you get stages or a stage with the wrong boss, and then you're like, kind of wasted on like a yellow item you don't really want. I know a yellow item can harm you, but like, could have been a Magma Worm and you got a Stone Titan. Could have been an Imp Overlord, but you got a Clay Dunester, and you're like, man, this sucks. But really good equipment, definite S tier, because you can get a guaranteed boss item sometimes. This thing, truly the greatest item of all time. We put it top of S tier. Ahoy, ahoy, ahoy. Molotov. Molotov actually is pretty pathetic. Actually, it's worse than Radar Scanner. Wow. The amount of damage this thing does is pretty pitiful, which is really disappointing, because I thought this thing was really cool when I first picked it up, but then I realized how much damage it did, and I'm like, why would I ever use this? Even with the Nishin tanks, it doesn't save this thing at all. It's still really bad. It definitely needs a buff to be good with, like, as other equipments. And yeah, that's all I gotta say about it. It's very disappointing. Next up, Gubo Jr. About B tier as well. Actually, no, I'll put in B, yeah. I'll put in B tier. It's just overall average. It can be good in some survivors, really good in some survivors. Really good in Mythrix Phase 4 in particular. I've had it like clutch for me a couple times because I just bring this equipment and the funny little guy would just give me all my items back. Usually to win a couple of Eclipse runs too, which is kind of cool in that. But overall, just pretty above average. Depends on the survivor, obviously. Some survivors won't benefit much from it. So yeah. Alright, next up, credit card. Easy S tier. You can get all the items from multi-shops. I don't need to explain more. You get more items, which will make you more powerful. More scrap, and more just general items to make you powerful. Easy S plus. You love this item, I do too. Next up, Caffeinator. Last normal equipment before we get to elite aspects. I think on its own, it's about C tier, though your homie Fireworks with Pocket ICBM makes this more insane. I put top of C tier because the Caffeinator itself actually does a decent amount of damage and procs bans, so you can use it for decent utility. I've used it in runs for damage. It's actually kind of funny, but kind of niche though. Though it is one of my favorite equipments in the game with Fireworks, so hey, there's that. But overall, just average it to C. Probably put it more so here. Alright, last but certainly not least, the elite aspects. Fire is the best one because of a Nishin tank, so it goes in tier. Actually, second best one. There's a better one. Is this overloading or ice? I'm gonna count it as ice. Ice is pretty mid. It goes in D tier. Only slows down enemies and hit. It freezes enemies upon death. It's cool with engineer turns, so there's that. Next up, Overloading. Goes in B tier because it spawns orbs on hit, which is pretty cool. Probably better off having a normal equipment over it though, so it kind of is at the lower end of B tier. Nuka Hana's Retort. The worst equipment, probably by far, early aspects, so sits here. Why, you may ask? Because it's just overall not very good. Oh, I get to switch the song real quick. Hold up. I'll do once in the lullaby for the last one. Yeah, it just spawns the like Nuka Hana grass. It disables healing, not that great. Would not recommend. You know the grass, it doesn't do very much damage to the enemies, but when the enemies hit you, it does a lot. Because you don't have much HP. That's why it does a lot of damage to you. So you think it'd be kind of strong, but no, it's not really. Also, this one's probably lower C tier because it makes all your allies invisible. So it does have that niche going for it. And enemies are kind of stupid. So it's okay. I'd put in C. Actually, it probably goes in D. The ice one is more of a better niche. Because engineered turrets can benefit from it. And freeze things. That's kind of cool. This thing is just kind of eh. I also don't like the invisible thing. It's really annoying. Next up, the perfected one. This one's definitely an S tier one because the perfected aspect gives you crippled and also gives you shields. The shields you don't care about, but the crippled debuff is really strong. It gives you like it's a long duration of slow and armor cripple. It's like a better version of Chrono Bubble and Sharing Justice. Actually, I think Sharing Justice might be better, but you get it. It's basically really powerful. If you end up getting it on stage 6, always pick it up. Like, it's probably better than whatever build you have going on at the time. And also, you will probably never really get much after that, so hey, you might as well. Anyways, easily the best equipment, or elite equipment. So it goes in S. And then the healing one. This one is also probably D tier. I'd probably put it here. It actually heals quite a bit, and if you get an equipment drone, it can actually be pretty useful. I should put in C. But outside the niche, it doesn't really do too much. If your ally has it, hey, it'll heal you for quite a lot, so there's that as well. I've had my friend get in multiplayer one time, and it was actually healing me quite a lot. This is pretty funny. And also seeing if you're injured, you give it to your turrets and they'll like heal you. Actually, I don't think mending allies heal each other, so not that great. Just give it to equipment drone, basically. As you would probably be recommending. Oh yeah, and then the scrap, of course. Scrap is the best item in the game, so they all go in S tier. Very controversial opinion, I know, but scrap truly is the best. So, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That is the tier list. Hope you guys enjoyed. I think I'm gonna make a couple changes. I think I'm gonna move Ball Chaos, these down to D tier. Because I don't think they're that great. And then, yeah, we'll start C tier from here. And then, probably drop Focus Convergence down. Quite an even amount in C and B, wow. A tier. I think it's fine overall. I think we'll finish at this. But yeah, that's the tier list. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I'll just show off every tier real quick as I'm doing my quick outro. So yeah, these are all the items. I hope you guys enjoyed. Yeah, thanks for watching. We'll probably do another Risk Marine 2 tier list for something else that's not items. So stay tuned for that. Bye.